Recording?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay.
First time I saw it, I think I was really amazed visually. Everything about it was very dark and gothic and very sophisticated.
I definitely think that Gilgamesh has a sexual side to it.
There's something kind of innately sexy about that whole kind of look.
It's not really apparent at first. It's kind of like, well, did he just say that?
I was totally excited. I was totally psyched about the show. It's completely just suspenseful.
The way it's drawn really starts to draw you into question who's the good guy, who's the bad guy.
I'm not too sure who the good guys are.
It's so cool. I'm so into it. The next volume. I'm into the whole show. I'm a big geek now for Gilgamesh.
It's got a real cool feel, and I think people will like it.
I play Fuko. She's a blonde, sexy, blue-eyed. She's very sweet, though. She has a sweet side, but she's got a naughty side, too. She has a dark side, and she has, you know, that dark, mysterious side. And then on top of that, she has a playful girl that just wants to be a girl, sexy, sweet side. I like the duplicity of her character.
Don't underestimate me, you jerk.
I play Toru, who is one of the children in Orga, who are the group of children that they're not really the Countess's children, but they're the people that are fighting her battle against Gilgamesh. And he's the youngest one, and he's kind of the censor of things. He helps them know when trouble's coming. They're here. I think Toru's one of the more sensitive characters. He's the youngest in Orga. He's also the one that's closest in age to Tatsuya. As the episodes progress, I think you're going to see that he relates to Tatsuya. I think he has more of an idea what's going on with him. And yeah, he does have a little bit more of a naive, wide-eyed view of the world than I think the other people in Orga do.
I play Isamu. He's part of Orca. He's kind of like the leader of the kids, but he's not the one in command. He's kind of like the second in command underneath the Countess.
What do you want from us? What are you going to do?
We won't do anything. We'd just like your company for a bit. The Countess says she'd like to meet you two.
The Countess of what?
I must admit, I was surprised when I heard the report.
I play the Countess Wardenberg, and she is head of the corporation of Orga. She's very, very above ground and urban sophisticated. She owns a hotel, I think it's the Hotel Providence, and she's art history paintings all over the wall. People say that she's evil, but I just think she's been scorned, and she's kind of letting loose the wrath. I really like the Countess because there are a lot of dimensions to her, and she's not just an evil, evil woman. You know, she's really just been hurt, I think, and this is how she deals.
I'm really impressed with the voice of, let's see, gosh, because I love them all, but the Countess definitely has some kick-assness to her voice. She has its need. She has really low undertones, and I can hear evil in it, just a little bit of it.
Did you come here just to make fun of me?
I'm afraid I don't have that much leisure time.
Also, there's a real awkward feeling between the Countess and the members of Orca. I don't know what that is necessarily about, but it's very, very prevalent. You know, you can see it in there.
That's kind of weird. I don't know. Countess is kind of mom, but there's definitely, I guess, some not so covert sexual overtones. There's something going on between him and the Countess. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something going on.
I do think that there are, you know, instances where there's sexual undercurrent, I guess. It's basically like there tends to be a lot of that in anime. There tends to be a lot of sexuality that it's not really apparent at first. It's kind of like, well, did he just say that? I mean, what does that mean what it thinks it, what I think it means? And then you start questioning whether or not you've got a dirty mind because you're, assuming that blah, blah, blah. Well, in this one specifically, the passing of powers through contact between, Orca and, Tatsuya, right? And it's, touching heads and there's, just being that close to someone, there is some type of, I would feel sexual tension between those characters.
The first time Isamu did it to me, I bled a little, but after that, I was fine.
You never have you? I thought you must have played around a little.
Oh, those are great.
First time I saw it, I think I was really amazed visually with like the imagery of, the castles and the music. Everything about it was very dark and gothic and very sophisticated, I thought. The piano playing and all the just different dynamics and supernatural things that go on. I don't know, I was really, really taken aback. I had no idea anime could be so sophisticated or so intellectual. It's really blown my mind how sophisticated and in-depth this show is.
I thought it looked really cool. I've watched a couple of anime and you can tell like it's a newer anime. The animation is a lot more clean and it's really dark. Like there's a lot of muted blacks and grays and a lot of white. Not much color, but the color that is there, it's very rich and interesting.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. Once again, it has a really dark theme, but as far as, especially the background art, it looks like there's characters moving around in a painting. And I like the way that they're kind of sparse with the movement sometimes, and because there's a lot of, I guess it's psychic action. The way they stare at each other and use their powers, and then all set against that background of the darkened world. I remember watching anime before I knew what anime was. I watched G-Force when I was a kid, which they've re-released recently, which I didn't even really remember. And then I liked Robotech a lot as a kid. The shows were awesome. And then it's just, as it's picked up over the years, it's been kind of fun to revisit. A college roommate that was really into Akira and Ghost in the Shell, and those shows are awesome. And kind of this show sort of reminds me of some of those darker anime, and it's fun to get to be a part of.
I do like playing more of the dark because it's, when something is lighthearted or good, it's easier for the audience to kind of assume what this character is feeling. Whereas when someone's dark, it lends itself to this mystery, and it causes the audience to kind of like, where's this guy coming from? That's why bad guys are always the most interesting in a story.
The world's definitely deteriorated for them. I don't know if it's something that they made that was a direct reference to it, but I definitely think, I don't know if there's any allusions to the real world, but it definitely could be an allegory for the world right now.
I think that the world of Gilgamesh, it reminds me very much of it's a Yeats poem, The Second Coming, and they say that the center cannot hold itself. I guess it's talking about the Last Judgment with Christ, or the second coming of him. And to back up, I see our situation politically, socially, steadily declining. I think we're on a downward spiral. But in the world of Gilgamesh, I think that they're already there. I think that they're already at the bottom. With the sky transforming into the mirror and not being able to see anything outside of yourself. Like in the world now, like we still have the ability to look above into the sky and to see the clouds and to see nature. And to me, that's kind of what releases like the pain of the world. But they don't have that. They just stare at this mirror and they only see like the reflections of themselves and of their society. And that to me is like the scariest thing about the show.
There's always going to be evil in the world. And there's always going to be the good trying to fight the evil. And so, of course, it symbolizes. But you just don't know who the good is in this show. And that's why it's suspenseful. That's why it's fun.
I think that the director in this one's really tried to bring the actors more into this one to get them in the mood, and I think the mood of Gilgamesh is it's a really dark, kind of creepy show. It's got a lot of action, but it definitely has a mood to it. And in the studio this time, they've really set up a little wonderland. It's pretty cool. This one, you definitely know more about the plot and what's going on, and yeah, I think this one's more of a interactive experience.
You're amazing. I have plenty to choose from.
I was completely excited because, first of all, the first thing I saw when I came in here was candles and the trees, and we had to wear black, and it really got you in the mood.
What Adam told me, he'd done some shows, I want to say, he'd done several different shows around here, and he told me oftentimes you go in and there's a script. You don't know a lot about the show at all. And you go in and there's just a regular script in the sound booth, and you go in there and do your lines or do your Foley. But what's different about this show, and what he's told me, because this is my first time, it's that, I mean, we have Stephen and Adam and all the producers and everybody working on this show, they have completely like decorated the room for the kind of the ambiance, and we have candles and, you know, trees and this really gothic kind of feel. All the lights are turned down whenever we're behind the microphone. All the candles are kind of raised, and we try to get into character by like wearing black every day and stuff.
It definitely helped me get into character because I was having trouble at first just because my voice is naturally at a very high register, I think. And I was having a lot of trouble at first, but it helped me to get into the mood. In order to be a character, you have to always, I don't know, be that character, feel that character, and I guess it kind of set the environment closer to what Foucault's is.
I feel that, well, first of all, like the environment working with Stephen and working with Adam, the engineer, and Stephen, the director, it's very, very laid back. So, I mean, not at all unprofessional, but at the same time, I feel very comfortable with him. And I'm able to walk into the booth, and it's great having like a bad day or having emotional things happen, because you walk in there and you shut the door, and you can kind of, if it's optimal, you know, optimal circumstances, and I like to think of it as trying to just channel all the emotional energy I've had that day into the character. And the day we were working on Tatsia and the Countess and their kind of relationship, that weird thing, I mean, it was really almost kind of cathartic to have stresses in my life and to be able to come in here into a totally fantastic fantasy world and be able to use those emotions in that regard. So I think it's very cleansing, and if I didn't act or do theater, I mean, I would probably like either be like really depressed and weigh 300 pounds and like sit home and watch Jerry Springer, or like, you know, be in jail. I don't know. So it really gives me like a release. And I think the intense emotional scenes also really add a lot of depth and color to the Countess. And I love that there are different sides to her, and that what Stephen's trying to bring out in us is the layers. And so I think that seeing the Countess kind of off her guard really, really brings a new dimension and like layer to her character. And it's great.
I was really excited to see everything come together, because there's a lot of it that I don't see. I only see my part. And so there are things that further the story that I'm not privy to, and then seeing it all together, things start to click, things start to make sense. And at the same time, I'm trying to piece it all together and figure out, you know, am I a bad guy, or is this, you know, where is this going?
I hear you snuck into our company's records room. What exactly were you trying to do?
We thought it was about time we found out about ourselves.
About Orga? About Dynamis? The Countess won't tell you?
We're not supposed to know any more than what our characters know at that present moment. And I think it's really tantalizing in certain ways, and it allows for a lot of mysterious, like you're truly taking the journey with the character. Also at times though, it's kind of frustrating because you want to know what happens, you know, and you want to know where it's going to take you, but we're just like along for the ride.
I'm really curious to see where I go, because right now there's no clear difference between the two groups. Like, you don't know who's good and who's bad. And even the stuff that I've recorded, there's still no way to tell. Like, I'll only know later in the series when the stuff starts unfolding. But right now, I'm really, really curious to see where this is going.
I've picked a side, but I want to see if I'm right before I say anything, because I could be totally wrong, because this show is just, you never know. You really don't. And it all the way through, you really never know until probably, I don't know. I mean, I don't know either.
Well, I'm a little biased because I'm one of the voices in Orga, and they definitely seem nicer at this point, but you really can't tell. So just in personal interest, I'd have to take Orga's side. At least I like the kids. As far as the Countess goes, who knows? She definitely is kind of a dark character, and she might turn out to be the most evil person in the whole bunch. So, but definitely right now, I got to stick with the home team. So I'm for Orga.
Of course, I'll choose my own, the Orca, because I think that we're a lot more powerful than it seems. Like in the first couple of episodes, in the first disc, you don't see the extent of our power. But I believe that through later episodes, you're going to see where we come in, because I believe it's just the three of us, and the Countess, and then Gilgamesh. That faction has more than three. It's got something like 9, I believe. And so if it's going to be 3 versus 9, then we have to have some type of power. So I'll be real interested to see that.
Most definitely, I am on the side of Orga, and I'm the leader of Orga, so I think I'm going to stay with them.
Something you wanted to ask?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
If you would all take your seats, please.
The Honorable Countess of Weddenburg.
It's so good of you all to come tonight. I'd like to welcome everyone. First, a word of thanks to our host at the lovely Alamo Draft House. I encourage you all to try something delicious. The service here is as subtle as the cuisine is sublime. Don't forget to tip.
Very kind of you, madam, but may I suggest you tell them why they are all here tonight?
Yes. We are halfway through production on Gilgamesh, and if you've seen Tablet 2, you already know one of you has departed. Soon some of you in this theater will join him, so I suggest you order a drink. For everyone, it's a look back on what we've done so far. For some, this is a celebration. But for others, this is a wake. For some of you tonight, your world gets turned upside down. It's a theme in Gilgamesh. You just can't trust anybody here.
All Heaven's Gate projects will be discontinued indefinitely.
So who are those three?
Dropping the needle gently onto the dials from the record player. You're now able to hear the sounds.
I love the look of Gilgamesh. Just the whole show, art direction wise, is really cool. And there's something so eerie and not really creepy, just eerie and gloomy and foreboding about the whole look of it. And I kind of have to commend the art direction on that.
It was really a big change for me from the characters that I've been playing to play Tatsuya, because he really is just sort of a somber kid. We see in the beginning that he's raised under this sort of mirror of sky that everyone else despises, but he's comfortable with. It's what he's used to. In the middle of this century, a single terrorist attack transformed the world. Sounds like a cartoon from the last century, I know. But this really happened. The author of this event was Enkidu. October 10th, 1010 XX. Twin X, we called it. After Twin X, all computers became unusable, and our advanced civilization collapsed. War followed, of course, and what war didn't kill, famine picked up the slack. All this happened before I was born. They say the sky was blue once. Not the mirror it is now. The sheltering sky. They say it's some kind of magnetic abnormality. I don't really understand it. Adults say it's eerie, but to me, it's the only sky I know. There's sort of this undertone of sadness that is over everyone, and it's sort of bred into him almost. His sister's always been sad because he didn't come until all of this had already happened. His mother was already an alcoholic, and his sister was just sad, and it's what he grew up around. And I think that affects a child when they're raised around nothing but sadness all the time, and he really doesn't have any hope for himself. And I think that that's why he's sort of scared all the time. He's hopeless, but he knows that there is something better out there. He's just not sure what it is. What's going to happen to my sister?
I'm sorry. I'd like to tell you otherwise, but I don't know that either. The Countess is talking to her attorney right now.
An attorney?
The fact is, these past 2 or 3 days I went to the place where you grew up. I thought it might give me a hint in helping us look for Kyoko.
You saw it?
Yeah. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but it's amazing to me you turned out so well.
It's because Kyoko was there for me.
Kyoko.
I think the mood of Gilgamesh is it's a really dark kind of creepy show. It's got a lot of action, but it definitely has a mood to it.
What are you doing here?
It's because I was concerned about you.
Was that kind of examination necessary?
If we waited to find out, it would be too late.
There's no way that kind of thing would have happened. I've told you time and time again. Nothing happened there.
We're dealing with Gilgamesh. There's no such thing as being overly cautious. Besides, I was thinking of you when I did this. I must admit I was surprised when I heard the report. You never have you? I thought you must have played around a little.
Something wrong with that?
How could there have been something wrong with it? If you hadn't been reliable, it would have been a lost cause. I mean, with that mother. Slovenly, filthy, ugly, a drunk.
You asked about her?
A natural thing to do as a creditor. Apparently you've had it awfully hard since you were little. After your mother passed away, your life was nothing but running away, saddled with a little brother. And in the end, you were captured by a cruel woman and caged just like a little bird. At a time like that, I wonder if you might not be enraptured by kind words spoken by a handsome young man.
What are you trying to say?
But I must admit I'm still suspicious about why you went with them. Maybe you went with them because you wanted to.
Stop making up things that didn't happen. I would never do something like that.
I certainly hope not. Your brother has been steadily learning to use his dynamis and attempting to embrace his destiny. I'm well aware of my own desires here, but let me say one thing. Don't you get in our way.
This is pathetic.
Oh, look who decided to show up.
To be honest, I didn't think I was going to have to.
I'd love to tell you otherwise, but your optimism was a mistake.
Obviously. So what's next?
Well, we take them back. We take them back tonight. Tonight. Before the devils imbue them with their wisdom.
That's what the professor wants as well.
You never have you? I thought you must have played around a little.
Oh, those are great. Where's
First time I saw it, I think I was really amazed visually with like the imagery of, you know, the castles and the music. Everything about it was very dark and gothic and very sophisticated, I thought. The piano playing and all the just different dynamics and supernatural things that go on. I don't know, I was really, really taken aback. I had no idea anime could be so sophisticated or so intellectual, but it's really totally blown my mind out of, it's really blown my mind how sophisticated and in-depth this show is.
I thought I'd play this for Delphus. If it's to be the last, it should be this piece.
It's all turned out just as you said it would. Everything.
This is where Gilgamesh's tomb was. I believe that probably stands as a symbol for all of this.
The children have been severely punished for their actions. Don't you worry.
When do you plan on telling them the truth? When they find out, and they will, they'll hate you for it.
Why don't we talk about your pets? It seems you've become quite capable of inhuman acts of cruelty yourself. If you'll excuse me.
Hold it. I called you for a different reason. It's about Tatsia Marika. As you know, everyone here must have an ID card. This is data from Tatsia's.
My God.
First, it's you got to get used to the world that it's in. But once you get used to that world and you get into it, you accept that weirdness. You let allow that to get into that part of you. You really start to enjoy it.
Get off me!
The closer I get, the better you look to me.
Then you're too close.
Doing this doesn't really suit you.
Cut it out! You're disgusting! Ah!
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Now get off! Don't underestimate me, jerk.
What is this? I don't know.
I definitely think that Gilgamesh has a sexual side to it. I think not only in the way that the Gilgamesh group, the way that they're dressed, they're all dressed very, the guys have very tight clothes on and very, very sexy hair, and the girl, she's very, really high slits, she has a lot of legs showing, and I think that they are very sexual. And I think, that's also something that definitely works for them and works on their side. And, that's kind of the difference between them and the other group. They're definitely more sexy, more sensual, more in tune with, the body. And the other group is very wholesome and very, very together. And I think that's what separates the two, and that's what's very distinct about them both. But I think definitely that Novum uses his sexuality a lot of times to his advantage with Kyoko and her brother.
Here you are. Warms you up inside. It'll get cold. Take it while it's hot.
I think there's some elements of sexiness in this show. Because there's something kind of innately sexy about that whole kind of look. Not just what they're wearing, but the quietness and the candles in the ear. I guess that's a matter of taste, but I think it's kind of sexy.
So cruel to others and so gentle to me. Is it because I'm your master's daughter? You asked me before what kind of sound the piano was making. Since I was a little girl, the piano had been my escape, because reality was just so horrible. We took shelter from the rain under a piano. Then we ran inside here, and I met you. And for a minute, I thought you might save me from that horrible reality. I thought that. That's what I thought.
Well, in this one specifically, the passing of powers through contact between, Orca and, Tatsuya, right? And it's, touching heads and there's, just being that close to someone. There is some type of, I would feel sexual tension between those characters.
Hey, I want you to give me some dynamis.
Go away. You're just gonna use it to fool around.
Yeah, and it's only when the Countess isn't around that I can do anything like that. Come on.
You're such a pest.
Thanks. You're a prince. What are you doing? What are you reading? What are you thinking about? You know you're better at giving it to me than Toru is.
But I'd bet you like Tatsuya's even more.
Not really. He's just a boy.
Was that just now?
He needed dynamis.
Dynamis?
If you do this, power passes to the other person.
Will you try doing it for me?
Well?
There's nothing.
You don't seem to have a fever.
Hey, listen, I don't suppose you could hook me up with some dynamis. I don't feel too good. Come on, please.
It's almost like we're in a bad dream that just goes on and on. But when we wake up, there'll be a real world. And just maybe the real us.
If that's true, I wonder what we'll be doing there. You'll be a piano player.
No, I don't have that much talent. I'm probably a piano tuner.
Just a tuner? Is that all?
That's it. But I do get to go to concert halls around the world with the maestro.
I see.
That's always been my dream.
Really, my dream's right now.
I must say, I love your outfit. It must be so cool in the heat
How long have you known?
Oh, a good while now. I heard the piano shop you worked for closed. Not exactly a high demand for piano tuners, so you decided to tickle the ivories here. When you left the hotel, I was amazed at your optimistic view of your job prospects. I, on the other hand, saw your future quite clearly.
Are you going to tell my brother?
Now, what would that accomplish? All I care about is that you have a job to repay my generosity. Besides, I think it best if we kept this our little secret. It would be too much for him to hear such a lewd truth at his age.
Did you come here just to make fun of me?
I'm afraid I don't have that much leisure time. I have something to ask you. Regarding your little brother's rather unique birth. About how he's not really the child of your father, Teramichi Monica.
Fuko.
Want me to?
Yeah, I think you might enjoy it a little more if you did it.
His nose is bleeding.
Easy, Fuko. It's his first time, you know.
The first time Isamu did it to me, I bled a little, but after that, I was fine.
This is Reiko, my adopted daughter.
What's the condition of our guest?
They said it's nothing serious.
I'm sorry for the nuisance to you.
This conversation is over. Here, eat these while they're still chilled.
Thank you so much.
These pomegranate trees are the ones I brought from Heaven's Gate. Its seeds are as sweet as the juice.
I'm sorry. I should have stayed more. I should have stayed more alert.
It's all right. Get dressed.
That's kind of weird. I don't know. Countess is kind of mom, but there's definitely, I guess, some not so covert sexual overtones. There's something going on between him and the Countess. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something going on.
Don't think badly of me. Do you like a drink?
No, thank you.
You don't like drunk women, do you?
To tell the truth,
You're a good boy. Let me see your face. Forget this ever happened.
I know.
I don't know how to describe it. In my world, it would be, like I said, like a anime Escape from New York, just dark, and there's something sexy about that. I don't know how to describe it any other way. It's very, I don't know if it's supposed to be, surely it is. It's very sexy, very dark, very rock and roll, but I don't know. Marilyn Manson, it does it for me, I can tell you that.
If you don't have a death wish, you shouldn't come to these kinds of places, now should you? There's no reason for you to be this loyal to her, the one who bought you. She's only using you. You don't know the first thing about her, do you? But Now, don't strain so much. You need to relax your shoulders a little more.
The only one that I think came close to this dark was probably Noir, just because of the setting, the sound. It reminds me of working on Noir because it's much more quiet and a little more mysterious, though this has such a darker edge to it than just assassins.
All you happy people deserve to just die.
Stop!
How?
What are they? What the?
Allow me to introduce them. My Blataria.
I remember watching anime before I knew what anime was. I watched G-Force when I was a kid, which they've re-released recently, which I didn't even really remember. And then I liked Robotech a lot as a kid. Those shows were awesome. And then it's just, as it's picked up over the years, it's been kind of fun to revisit. A college roommate that was really into Akira and Ghost in the Shell, and those shows are awesome. And kind of this show sort of reminds me of some of those darker anime, and it's fun to get to be a part of.
There's always going to be evil in the world. And there's always going to be the good trying to fight the evil, and so of course it symbolizes. But you just don't know who the good is in this show. And that's why it's suspenseful, that's why it's fun.
Gilgamesh. It's them.
Stay here. We're in the middle of a meal. Those creatures have a clear objective. And besides, having amateurs like you hanging around and getting in the way would be an annoyance, right? Since there are a large number of trained professionals here, Now, let's see how special these forces are. What is this?
It's just power versus power, and whoever wins in the end is going to decide who is good and who is bad.
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
So whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Recording?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay.
The first time I saw it, I think I was really amazed visually. Everything about it was very dark and gothic and very sophisticated.
I definitely think that Gilgamesh has a sexual side to it.
There's something kind of innately sexy about that whole kind of look.
It's not really apparent at first. It's kind of like, well, did he just say that?
I was totally excited. I was totally psyched about the show. It's completely just suspenseful.
The way it's drawn really starts to draw you into question who's the good guy, who's the bad guy.
I'm not too sure who the good guys are.
It's so cool. I'm so into it. The next volume. I'm into the whole show. I'm a big geek now for Gilgamesh.
It's got a real cool feel. I think people like it.
This is my first one. This is my first anime, and I really have enjoyed the whole experience and learning how to do it and how things are done, and it's been really, really interesting.
Come join us, you and your sister.
Join you? What?
To fight against the devils that exist in this world.
The process from the beginning has been, for this show, has been amazing. Because most shows, you show up and you have a brief conversation with the director who tells you who your character is going to be and what situation you're in. But Steven actually set it up to where we get to know the plot, a little synopsis of who your character is and how they fit into the whole thing. And so you get to think about it, which allows you to make choices before you show up, which is good for the actor because, you get to put a little process into it. But then, Steven allows you to come in, make your choices, and then tells you what he needs, and that kind of evolves into something else to, the concept you get toward the end. So overall, it's been a lot more involved, at least for me, for the actor. It's less of doing a cold reading and more of actually doing a part.
You have to be a lot more aware of your own sort of isms, the way you say things, but then you look at this person that you're portraying that is up on the screen in front of you, and you want to listen to yourself and try to take over those things that you always do yourself and try to take on this other person.
When I first saw it, when I went into the studio and saw the actual, before I laid the voice tracks down, I thought this was definitely a different show.
When we recorded Gilgamesh, we all came into the studio, and the studio had it was very dark, and there were trees and candles, and I think just walking into the recording studio, that really set the mood for the rest of the recording, and so it kind of walking into that atmosphere, and this atmosphere really helped to set the pace.
There's no such thing as being overly cautious.
Alice came in and did the show first, and she got to see the decorations and like actual set that had been created in the studio. And she described it to me, and it was odd because, I mean, there's never anything related to the show in the studio when you come in, you know, aside from the TV screen and the script. So she kind of gave me an idea, and I didn't really know what to expect. You know, I knew that it was going to set a tone, but I didn't really know what that tone was going to be until I got here. And when I came in, I was amazed. It really does. It gives you sort of feel that you're in a dark place and there's mysterious things going on, and it relaxes you, but at the same time, it's very exciting because you're in a moment and you get to react honestly within that moment. So I was very excited to come see it, and I was not disappointed when I saw what was created.
Usually it's just kind of quiet, kind of cool, kind of laid back. This was quiet and laid back, but they had done up the studio all goth-like and to get you in the mood, and everybody was prepared for it. Everybody, we were well read on the on the subject before we came in, and they created a vibe so we'd feel that stuff when we were doing the voice. So it was great.
Soon the professor will put his plan into motion. We need you and your brother to help us.
You know, I look at Sex, and he's so much, you know, he's a lean and tall, almost, you know, towering, and he has this hairdo that is, you know, sort of just up there, and you know, opens them all up. So he really doesn't say much, nor do many of the characters. They don't say much. Their volume doesn't go like so loud to where they're always trying to gather attention. Like they're so statuesque and sort of like drawn long to where if they really did walk into a room in real life, they would gather your attention. You couldn't help but look at these people. They're so beautiful.
This show, I don't know how to describe it. In my world, it would be, like I said, like a anime Escape from New York, just dark, and there's something sexy about that. I don't know how to describe it any other way. It's very, I don't know if it's supposed to be, surely it is. It's very sexy, very dark, very rock and roll, but I don't know. Marilyn Manson, it does it for me, I can tell you that.
I definitely think that Gilgamesh has a sexual side to it. I think not only in the way that the Gilgamesh group, the way that they're dressed, they're all dressed very, you know, the guys have very tight clothes on and very sexy hair, and the girl, she's very, like really high slits, she has a lot of legs showing, and I think that they are very sexual. And I think, you know, that's also something that definitely works for them and works on their side. You know, that's kind of the difference between them and the other group. You know, they're definitely more sexy, more sensual, more in tune with like the body, and the other group is very wholesome and very, you know, very together. And I think that's what separates the two, and that's what's very distinct about them both. But I think definitely that Novum uses his sexuality a lot of times to his advantage with Kyoko and her brother.
I like the bad guys, of course. So what are you gonna do?
One of the overlying principles that might have been touched on and might get touched on more as the volumes continue is that you can't have bad without good. They're not they don't exist aside from each other. So if you choose one, the other one's still there. And I think that's what the big questions are right now in the story, is who is bad and who is good. But you still have this physics idea of antimatter and matter, and one can't exist without the other. So whichever one you're choosing, they're still part of one whole. And I think that's where a lot of the questions are going to come, like what exactly happened at the beginning of this story to create this schism between two different powers. And then you start to realize that good and bad is just like, it's just an idea that their society has created. Like, it's just power versus power, and whoever wins in the end is going to decide who is good and who is bad.
Oh yes, we all have a dark side. Yeah, it's fun because I'm pretty in real life, shall we say, kind of a passive, but we all have that evil side. I just don't, but with this chick I get to come out and be mean and stuff. And apparently it's coming out all right, because even when I'm watching, I'm like, whoa, that was me that said that. It's cool.
Ah, look who decided to show up.
To be honest, I didn't think I was going to have to.
I'd love to tell you otherwise, but your optimism was a mistake.
Obviously. So what's next?
Well, we take them back. We take them back tonight. Tonight.
There is a monster within all of us. And I think it says a lot about sex because he's willing, he's willing to allow that monster to come out so early, so much earlier than anyone else. So I'm sure it lies within, deep within all of Gilgamesh, that they're able to control it more. Sex would be considered to be the hot-headed one, the aggressive one, the quick-tempered one. He feels an impulse, and he goes and he does it. He meets somebody, he's not going to go shake their hand. He'll throw the towel at them.
Yeah, there are a lot of subtle hints dropped in the show, and it's kind of, the more you watch it, I think the more that you start to see, well, wait a minute, I just saw, how did they know that they were going to be there?
Well, one of the scenes where I know, my character knows that they're going to be coming because I have 5 cups of cocoa instead of 3, I think it really shows that these people have been watching them, and also, you see between the two, Gilgamesh and the other group, that they can sense each other.
We've got company.
Yes.
And I think they have the same sort of relationship with the boy, especially that they can sense that they're coming and that they've been watching him and preparing to sort of get him into the situation. And all this has been set up so that he will go to their side. So I think there's definitely, he plays some pivotal role in whatever the conflict is. And I think that's what is really being alluded to in that scene, that this is the beginning of their attempt to assimilate them into their group.
Doesn't matter who. All we need is one of us to get to the reactor.
Novum really, he doesn't really get too excited about things. He doesn't really get too, he doesn't get worked up a lot. And I think that his calmness is what sets him apart the most. And his security.
Okay, Novum's awesome. In watching the shows, he's the character that sucks you in the most is thus far in the first few episodes, because you don't know what he's up to, you don't know what's going on, there's this mystique about him, and that's what's sexy about it, is not knowing what he's going to do next. That's one of the things. It's very cool.
It was wrong of us, bringing you to this place.
In a story like Gilgamesh, where you have a tragic hero and you have good and bad fighting, you'll always find archetypes of what's going on in your society within the story. And you don't even have to look all the times. You could see it. Here's this struggle. And whenever there's struggle, you can find things that reflect the society that you're in, because there's always conflict. And I think Gilgamesh does a really great job of not only creating what is like a classic struggle of the hero and good versus bad, but also incorporating, you have these ideas of cloning and of technology, and what happens after technology's gone, and how do you react? But then you still have these, pre-Armageddon ideas of, you have the mob who is trying to repay debt, which normally you wouldn't think of, post-apocalyptic setting, but you still have these ideas from our society that we see, like, even after the world is destroyed, you still have human beings who are perpetuating these bad things. And I think that is really what's being shown in the Gilgamesh story, is that what will humans do between each other when you take away this organized government, you take away the technology, and you don't have cell phones or computers, and you just have to react to each other. And then you have these human beings that come up, or maybe not human beings, that rely on themselves and have their own powers, and then they have their conflict.
The world of Gilgamesh is darker. It's edgier, It's after the most horrible thing that could happen on the earth. A terrorist attack that changes the world forever. And so it's a darker world. It's a more cynical world. I haven't found any clues who is good, who is bad. And also, we were talking about that world a minute ago. There isn't really a stark contrast between dark and light. Everybody seems so gray throughout. To get by, you have to sort of take on this facade to reach what it is that you need to get. So I'm not so sure if there is a really, stark separation between that lightness and the darkness.
I'm on Gilgamesh's side, but that's just a character thing. Just simply because I play Novum and he's on the Gilgamesh side, I kind of am rooting for them. all the while. But I think what's so great about the show is even as you watch it, the whole time you're just kind of, feeling for these poor kids who don't really know where they're going and they don't know whose side they should be on. And I think that what's really interesting is the ball is always going like from one side to the next, and you just don't know. You just have no clue of what these kids should be doing or who has like the right intentions for them. And I think that what's so interesting about the show is usually in most shows you know who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. And I think that this is so fresh and new.
Well, I have to be on my side, right? My character's side. She's mean and I'm not, so it's fun to be on her side. Take names.
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Everything about it says sex. Even the fighting says sex. I mean, the girls are wearing these like tight clothes and like high slits, and they're being sexy as they're kicking someone's ass. And I mean, there's even sex scenes in it, so I mean, of course that reads sex. It's a very sexy show.
If I could make a comparison, I'd say it's like Frank Sinatra sexy. Because it's just got this quality to it. It's got this confidence and this air about it that just makes you stop and stare.
There's something very elegant about it, but there does something be something that's sort of reduced about it. Like, you're not sure what people are thinking. You're not sure, why this guy looks the way he does. And so it's that there's the mystery of that kind of keeps you on edge, or you don't know if this person's good, if this person's bad, what their deal is. And I think that's interesting.
I did find the series sexy, but just my mentality of it took me a while to get in the idea that cartoons can be sexy. I remember I had an ex-boyfriend a long time ago that told me he found Ariel sexy, and I just couldn't believe that. The Little Mermaid, how could she be sexy? But I think this series, it is sexy.
I mean, you can't help but to be attracted to these characters. All of them. It's in their look, it's in their being, it's in their voices, it's in their appearance. Everything about them has an element of tension. There's sexual tension. If you're not attracted to their actual physique, you're attracted to their power and to their mystique.
They are these like godlike creatures, and they just think they're better than everybody else, and it doesn't matter what anybody thinks about them, and they'll just do whatever the hell they want.
I play Sinke.
You'll like this.
I play Duo.
Eliminate anyone who stands in our way.
I play Tria.
Do you have a problem?
I play Quator.
I play Septum. The matter of this world is eating away at your body. You poor thing. I can help you.
I'm going to play Decim.
So we just stand back and watch.
It's going to be interesting, so it'll be interesting to get in there and kind of jump in and see what happens. I got the part through Stephen Foster, who offered it to me after, I believe, meeting me in a shoot for Gantz, which was another program I did here. And he was just a really cool guy, and he came up to me, and he offered me the part, and meeting Stephen was one of the coolest things that's happened to me.
My boyfriend, Andrew Love, has been working here, and Gilgamesh was actually his first ADV gig. And he came home, and he was ranting and raving about how cool it was and how sexy he got to talk, and he was like, "You should really do it." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And then an opportunity came for a part later on in the series, and I came in for the audition, and they hired me.
How I got the part, I did a show with one of the Gilgameshians in the show, Leslie Tesh, and I was in Joseph at church, and she goes to my church, and we were in it together. And she actually, I guess, gave the director my number, and he gave me a call up one day randomly, and the rest is history, I guess.
So I've done Orphan. I played Orphan and Orphan, Sayuki. Sayuki was really fun. Colorful. And I did, for Jen, I did Orphan 2, which was the
orphan sequel. And so those were kind of roles that you kind of can't, those were big roles. And so it was great to kind of get this. I moved to New York after that, so I haven't really been back at ADV except for that reoccurring stuff, which I finished all up. So it was good to get the call from Steven and come in and do this. I'm excited to do it.
This is my first anime role. This is my first cartoon role, period. And I'm so excited to be a part of this process. I do a lot of live work. I'm a stage actress, and I've even done some film, stuff like that. But never have I had to rely solely on my voice and the power that my voice can convey.
Enough of this. Let's cut to the chase.
It's a lot different from working on the stage because I'm constantly told, lower your voice and more chest resonance and project. But here I can be low and quiet and it still be effective. So it was a totally different medium for me.
All of Gilgamesh is together once again.
It's really fascinating. The more and more I do stage work, the more I think of approaching a voice acting character. You know, you come in and you've already got the body. You know, you're not creating a character from your own body. You come in and you see what a character looks like. You see what their eyes are like, what their hair is like, what their body's like, and then you kind of figure out what their intentions are and what they might want. And then you have to figure out how to then kind of take that into your own physical makeup so that then it can come through your voice. What that character is and what they look like and how they hold themselves. So that's an interesting challenge.
Let's stop this. I do believe we are all in accord with our objective.
It's all in the voice. It's not, I mean, you can't really act it out. I mean, there's parts that, like, you have to do, like, what the character is doing. Like, there's this one part in the show where my character's standing up on the rock and he has his hand, like, behind his back and his other hand up in the air. And, like, I had to stand like that just to act it out, but that's about it. I mean, really, you don't physicalize it. Mostly you vocalize what you're feeling.
They keep coming.
There's something in the smoke that affects our power.
I know that. Really now, did you think I'd come here alone?
I'm a musical theater major, so I'm actually, you know, I'm very comfortable in live working with actual human beings and relying on my body and you know, my face and all of those different elements that you don't have when you're doing strict vocal work. So it's totally a new branch for me. So it's great. It's a challenge, and you know, as an artist, you constantly need to challenge yourself. So it's great.
I was really nervous, but you know, Steven's great. He was very calming, and since Andrew had done it, he was able to give me a little pointers on how to, what to expect. You know, that the studio is going to be decorated, and there'll be candles, and it'll be fun just getting to it, and so it was kind of easy.
Steven insisted that we all wear black to every shoot and dress very gothic and as sexy as possible and listen to any kind of death metal or rock or punk that kind of got you in the mood for the shoot. And those worked pretty well, and that was a lot of the preparation that I did. And I also watched all the DVDs that I wasn't in that came out before my character was introduced.
The recording for Gilgamesh was very much different from other recordings that I've done. I mean, I had to watch the previous shows to get ready for my character because I thought it was going to be a lot like the stuff that I've done where it's all upbeat and you walk into the studio and just do it. But instead, you wear all black and you kind of get in that somber mood where you feel almost sexy, but depressed almost, but you have to bring your energy in. So it's like you got to be relaxed, but you've got to have this energy always going. And all the other times I've recorded, I just pretty much showed up in whatever I was wearing and went into the studio, did my thing, and then left. But when you walk into the studio, you've got candles and you've got like these little trees everywhere and dark curtains and everything's just so dark and mysterious, and it just gets you in the mood for the show.
Yeah. I think I was here at one point when all of that was starting, and it was very kind of almost method acting take on doing voice acting, which is kind of great, because I think the challenge with voice acting is coming in and really embodying that character so that can come through in your voice. So I heard about, the decoration of the studio and the candles and the dimming down of the lights and people dressing in black, and I just thought that was interesting. I wasn't participating in it, but I thought, I wonder how that's going to affect the actors and affect the performances.
I was enchanted by the studio. It was so cool, and it was all, Gilgamesh, and it was a little intimidating because it was almost like actually stepping into the world of Gilgamesh, and I knew once I entered the studio what type of work I was going to be doing. I knew it was going to be intense.
Walking into the recording studio for Gilgamesh, I was a little intimidated because there were black, dead, spray-painted trees everywhere, and there were candles, and there were no fluorescent lights on. There were just the natural lighting and setting. It was a little chilly in the booth, and everything was dark, but, Stephen and Adam, the two people who I worked with when I was recording, just made it so awesome that the setting had the effect that they wanted, that they were going for, you could tell, but those two made it so comfortable so that it didn't really put you off. You felt immediately at home in this dark, dead space, which is kind of awkward, but I think makes sense in a cool kind of way.
The setting did help me with my character. It helped me feel like I was more on a film set. I felt like I was part of the scene. I didn't feel like I was just kind of jumping into the booth and just kind of trying to find the mood. I was like, it was already there, and it helped a whole lot more.
The show, it's chilling. You watch it and you're there. And you're right under the mirror of the sky. You're there with them. You can't help it. As you watch the show, you start to relate for these people, and there's such a mysterious element to the show that, it was almost as if I wasn't even a part of the actual creative process. I was just like right there watching the whole thing, and ooh, who are they? The show just captures you. It's captivating.
The interesting thing to me about it, honestly, that first popped out was, if you look at each shot, there's a lot of colors, but they're all muted colors, so it's interesting. It's almost like they've taken a very, actually, colorful world, but they took certain tones out. There was certain opaqueness to a lot of stuff. So the interesting thing about that to me is that I think color says a lot about, what someone's like, what the world is like, and so this color is kind of reduced to almost like this weird grayish, cloudy kind of white thing. You don't really know what the world is, and I think that kind of speaks to the show.
When I first saw Gilgamesh, it was very, very dark. It was, it drew my attention though because it had like a little edge to it. There's so much mystery in there that you just want to keep watching and figure out what's going on, because there's so much going on in the show, and there's so many like secrets being held from other people that you just want to kind of go, well, who knows what, and who's going to find out, and who's with who, and who's gonna kill the next person. You keep wanting to watch more and more of it.
I was a little freaked because one of the first scenes you see in this show is the main character peeing blood.
What is it?
There's blood in it.
I was a little weirded out, but I stuck with it and I watched the first 2 DVDs. And the third one wasn't out yet, so by the time I got to the end of the second DVD, I think I cursed because I wanted to watch the third one. I was drawn in not only because I had 1 or 2 lines at the end of the second DVD, but because the story is very intriguing and it's quiet and it has a nice, slow build to it. And by the time you get to the end of that second DVD, you're not going anywhere. You're staying with Gilgamesh.
When I first saw the look of it, I loved the show. It's brilliantly written. It's so dark, and I love that. It's not like the happy kind of anime. It's really dark and like mysterious. And every episode, you never know what's going on. It's always like changing, and the sides are changing, like who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, and you never know.
Our work here today has come to an end. There's no point in fighting. Hold it! How did they?
What are they? What the?
I think the show's appealing
Allow me to introduce
simply because it touches on themes that we deal with every day in our lives. The idea of right and wrong. We're faced with that each day. And I think in our culture, right and wrong is such a thin line. It's such a gray area as to how to achieve the right goal. You might have to do things that you didn't consider right in order to achieve it. And I think we all struggle with that.
Let him go!
When there are characters that are strong characters and a strong story, then you take the audience on that journey, you know, and they want to stay and they want to see what's going to happen, especially if it's something that is a little bit mysterious, a little bit secret, darker. And when you get something fast, there's not as big of a payoff. So like, if you're invested in the characters and you slowly invest in those characters and you kind of see them, because it's like our lives, you know, you don't get quick payoffs. It's like this journey, and I think you want to take that journey with the characters. So I think that's becoming more and more something that people want to see episodically, is something that they can attach to that way.
Tatsuya! I told you that I needed you and your sister to fight against Gilgamesh.
That's all?
It feels like there's something inside of you being brought out into it, and it's easier to watch someone else cry and go through death and just all this mourning instead of you going through it. Because when you're going through it, it's so much harder emotionally for you. But when you're watching someone else do it, it makes it a whole lot easier to just sit there and watch it happen, and then it kind of comes out in your emotions as you're crying, watching the scene, and just going, oh my God. So I like the darker stuff, I really do.
It is very dark, and it's actually a moody show, because it'll go from kids having snowball fights with their mind power crazy telekinesis to the Countess, who is a middle-aged woman seducing a 12-year-old. Well, it looks like she's seducing a 12-year-old. And even during those snowball fights, there's an underlying theme. There's a little bit of sexy and a little bit of violence. It is a very dark and moody show, especially when it sets its mind to it. When it says, okay, we're getting serious, we're getting sexy, we're getting dark, people are getting hurt, and things are going to change. And when that happens in this show, when the train really gets going, it's pretty exciting.
You know, I think inherently there's like to human nature, I think there's a kind of an almost secret aspect to human nature and the mysteriousness of that. And I think we feel like we're not supposed to show those things, or any type of dark thought or secret that people have. So I think that's why people gravitate towards something that's darker, something that they can kind of release into and sort of kind of enter that world and be in that world for the duration of that show or that series or whatever it is. And I think that there's an essence of darkness and aloneness in human nature that darkness kind of embodies, and that's why people gravitate towards that.
Gilgamesh is very different from a lot of the anime shows. This is more like a movie. It's more like a Matrix kind of feel to it. It's less like a cartoon, more like a movie, actually.
I think people are responding to the show because it's so, like, I think it appeals to everybody, whoever watches it. I mean, the characters are so well thought out and they're so mysterious. Like, you don't really know what's going on ever with the characters. And that, I think, is called a forward in, like, theater terms. It's like, it keeps the audience wanting to know what's coming next. So I think that's really what appeals to it. And also the characters are just cool.
I guess the idea that I didn't really always know what was going on. I didn't know what they meant when they said certain things, and everything's kind of very monotone and very, you just don't know really what's going on, really what they're thinking, and it just causes you to be, tuning into the next one.
I don't know. I really couldn't put my finger on it and say, this is what I love so much about this show. I could tell you things that I love. I could tell you about the mood and how the action, when it does happen, happens like a cannon shot. It's intense and it's wonderful. And the monsters are horrifying and the people are sexy. Everyone has just this great power. There's no one who you look at and go, I would never fuck her.
When you first see Septim, she's on a bed waiting for Nova. And he comes into the room and she's pretty much saying,
It's been a while.
It's been a while. And
Let's
then
go home.
she just starts talking to him about how she wants him to come back and she's trying to seduce him back into their land and wants to take him from the real world, but he's in love with the other girl. And I believe she knows that at that point. And so she ends up licking his wound and saying, no one can save you here in the real world. I can take care of the wounds that no one can. And she ends up carrying him off while he's sleeping, and she obviously has feelings for him. And the only way she can show it is by being a bitch to him about how he screwed up and needs to come back to the professor and to see Mother. And she just tries to manipulate him to come back because she secretly wants him back.
And we can't start that cleansing without you. The matter of this world is eating away at your body. You poor thing. I can help you.
How do you describe a bitch with a heart? But other than saying Septim, I mean, she has a lot of love, but she doesn't know how to really express it. So she's a little mysterious. Completely opposite from me.
A castle of arrogance, towering over a city of vanity. Or is it the reckless lance of the ignorant? Duo is a self-possessed, conceited bastard, and that's why I love him.
I hate to interrupt when you're waxing poetic, but we're leaving.
Fine.
I play Quator.
Without command, they're just like wild animals.
She's fierce. Like, she has so much power and so much poise, and in all of her movements and everything she says, it's so calculated that it's like, where'd that come from? You know, like everything that she does, she has her own motives for, but you don't quite know what exactly that is because you're not her. So that's definitely fun to embody.
I play Tria. Tria is a badass. He has this like long silver hair. Yeah, he's excellent. He's kind of the self-appointed leader of the Gilgameshians. He just kind of comes in and takes over towards the end of the series, and he's just like, do you have a problem with that?
Sex is stronger than power, I do have to say, because sex can get you the power. The power can't get you the sex. So if for example, if a husband and wife got in a fight and the woman wore like her low-cut shirt, she looked really, really pretty and just looked very sexy and did everything she could get him to pretty much do anything that she wanted. And if she just tried to be like the powerful bitch, there would just be more drama and she wouldn't get anywhere. And in order to get the power, you have to have the sex.
Ooh, which is stronger, sex or power? I don't know. I think in this show, I think it's both. I think sex and power, they go in together. Like, I mean, sex is powerful and power is sex, like it makes you want to have sex.
I think sex is probably a stronger weapon than power. But I think sex is used to gain power a lot of the time. So I think both of those are kind of one and the same, actually. But I think the way in which to gain power, sex is a very strong way to do that, and I think people do that all the time.
Ooh, what's the stronger weapon, sex or power? I don't know. I guess I don't really want to say sex because maybe that means that I might use sex as power, which I don't know if I want to admit to doing that. I guess I'm going to say power, and I don't know, if you exude power, then you can have a lot of things go your way, and you can use that to your advantage. But being a girl, who doesn't use sex to get what they want? So it's a tough question.
I'd have to say sex is a stronger weapon than power because some people aren't afraid of anything for whatever reason. A lot of people believe in faith, and that keeps them from being afraid of anything on this earth, but everyone has temptation in their lives. And when you can't intimidate someone, when you can't barrel your way through a situation, you can always tempt someone. And sex does that. Promises of infinite amounts of pleasure can tempt even the most solid of people.
Gilgamesh is definitely living in our time where it's the sex is power, power is sex. There's a lot of diplomatic things that are going on, and how the real world is dangerous, be in this fantasy world, and we can take care of you, and it's just like people like trying to manipulate other people to do things. I mean, it's very much TV and real life. How many people do you know is like, oh no, don't do that, you're not going to be cool if you don't do this. Except this way it's more sexy vibed, where everything is just like, no, come here, come with me, and you'll be safe, and we'll all love each other and be a great big family. And it's a very twisted show, just as much as life is.
It's time! Show Gilgamesh who holds the real power!
Oh, for sure. The show definitely mirrors today's society in that all of our leaders think they're right, all of our parents think they're right, all of our friends, everyone has their own ulterior motives, has their own objectives and their own worldviews and their own ways about achieving those objectives. So definitely this show, it relates back to today, and you can see all those parallels when you watch Gilgamesh.
I really do think that Gilgamesh reflects like today's society. Like, you don't really know who the good guys are. I mean, the politicians, they're supposed to be the good guys, but they're not really. And but then again, like, who are these other people? Like maybe the tree huggers. Like, I mean, I consider myself more of a liberal person, but who's to say that we're the good guys? I mean, you never know. Like, it's all in how perspective. It's all in how you put things together.
You can't win with the powers you have. If you decide to stand by these clowns, I'll kill you right here. Justice is on our side.
You're nothing but a bunch of terrorists! I think human nature, in its essence, is inherently good. But I think that there's the argument of, are we born, when we're born, are we born inherently good? And I want to say yes to that question, but I think because of the world that we live in now and how kind of messed up the world is that people are coming into, I think people get to the point of evil or darkness, or they can get to the point of evil or darkness faster than maybe in a different time.
It's hard. I grew, like, when I was watching it, I was on the Orca side, because that's what Andrew is, and now I found out I'm on Gilgamesh, so I'm torn. So I kind of wish my character would, like, face off with Andrew's character, and I could just kick his ass, but... So I guess I'll have to say Gilgamesh.
The bad guys. I'm with Duo all the way. I'm sticking by his side. I'm rooting for Duo.
I had to pick a side. I'm loyal to my character. You know, we have a relationship. I am on the side of the Gilgameshes.
I choose the side of Gilgamesh because I think it's a risky side.
Whose side are you on?
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 I play Reiko in Gilgamesh. I was trying to sleep, but I just couldn't do it. All the screaming.
My character, Kazumatsuri, is a real bad guy. He's like a military leader, and he commands the Lataria, the red soldiers with the faces. He's not a real nice dude, but he was very fun to play because of that. Come in, Unit 2. Down the bitch.
In Gilgamesh, I played Dr. Enuma. I must confess, I'm a bit jealous of you, my old friend.
Jealous?
Of how you were able to gather those children together to fight Madoka Teramichi.
I play Keiko.
Hey.
What is it? What's the matter?
That's what I was gonna ask you. I've been calling you forever. What's the deal? I thought something was wrong.
No, I told you everything's fine.
Bullshit. You got somebody here? Boyfriend?
No, no one special.
Oh. Lucky you. Kinda wish I had a regular to pay my rent.
Keiko is your average all-American girl, except that she's a hooker and probably has the blackest heart of anybody walking the earth right now. I'm not exactly sure how I got cast in Gilgamesh as this particular role. I think that it's because Steven wanted to see if I could do something like this. I don't normally get to play characters of this flavor.
I always seem to get cast as the bad guy. And I'm not sure if it has something to do with my voice or whatever it is, but I think it's more enjoyable to play the bad guy than anything else. Fire!
Lots of scream rolls, lots of screaming, lots of crowd, reaction type stuff. And of course there was none of that in this series in Gilgamesh, at least with my role. So it was very hushed, again, very quiet, and it was hard not to kind of have that energy level that you usually have to match with your voice. In this series, you had to do it in different ways. You had to have inflection on different syllables to create a mood or what you were really feeling and not use actual tonality. First, I would like to ask why someone from another company uninvolved in this project is at this table.
I do play a lot of parts at ADV, and I would say that this one is definitely different, primarily because it's such a sexy, different show. And just the whole shooting process on this show has been completely different than anything I've ever done. And this, playing this character, it kind of put me in a bad mood. It just made me evil. And it was fun.
The production and the process of this was very different. Stephen Foster had a big setup going on with this little enchanted forest that we got to hang out in with all these strange little trees and candles. And I think it helped everybody get in the mood which I've never seen in any other project I've been involved in. They've never decorated or anything like that. So it was fun.
When we went through the recording process for Gilgamesh, it was, again, very whispered, very hushed tones. And so in the recording process, it was a darker studio. It was a dark atmosphere to kind of create that image and that world. So it was easier for those voices to carry out that type of theme. It was a really interesting experience.
There was a definite vibe, a definite sort of, I don't mean this in a negative way, but a mausoleum feeling, which is nice for this show, a very still, sort of quiet gravity to things. And with things so still and so dark and so candlelit, it lent itself to just sort of letting the sound come out more naturally. It's really nice, a really different vibe. I think goes very well with the animation of this show.
I thought it was very interesting that they didn't have your typical kind of bug-eyed anime look. It was more realistic, which was kind of creepier because the show was so, I don't want to say bizarre, but so bizarre.
I do think that Gilgamesh is kind of sexy. I think that the whole vibe of it, the whole tone of it is sort of in anticipation. It's sort of hushed, but not a, it's a hush with energy in it and a hush with what's going to happen in it.
Good guess.
When I first saw Gilgamesh, I could definitely tell that it was different. You know, I've seen, if you want to say, darker anime before, but this show was just really beautiful.
I have to go. They're waiting for me.
What's happening out there? It's because of you, isn't it?
Yes.
What did you do?
When I first heard about Gilgamesh, I had just heard that it was this show with this different look, which doesn't lend itself to much in terms of your imagination. But when I first saw it, I thought it looked really, I guess goth is a good word, but that's not really what I mean. It just looked kind of edgy. It just looked different. And when you've done a lot of anime, when you do a lot of projects, anything that is different is going to catch your eye, and you kind of go, ooh.
It's very dark, and it's very, everything is almost in whispered tones, and it kind of creates its own image without even listening to the dialogue. You already feel kind of the world that you're in. After watching some of it and kind of listening to the dialogue, it really hits on some issues that are deeper than what I thought most of Japanime or this anime usually stands with, and it was really interesting to see.
Those things are the same as your children. What controls the embryons is something grown from the embryonic stem cells from Orga. They're human.
I personally don't have a sense of darkness within me. I think my husband would disagree, but I am more of that happy every day is a joy to be here type of person. So having an environment that you kind of go into and really help create something that this is not real life, this isn't just a couple of hours out of my day, I need to kind of mold myself into something here, and the environment of filming with, again, the candles and the cloth and just everything being so dark really helped kind of create that environment. And again, I think it comes through across, of course, in our voices.
I would say that playing Rico is definitely harder than some of the other roles I've done. It wasn't me at all. Usually a lot of characters have a little piece of you, you know, a playfulness or a tomboyish element, and this part was just dark and weird. Stephen would always say, weirder, freakier, higher, and so I've never gotten high. It was hard to get there when I have never experienced it, so it was a very difficult role for me to play.
I like playing this bad guy more than the others just because he's got some really good lines, and that seems to be characteristic of good bad guys, is that they have better lines than the good guys, you know, and that's more fun. Even though you may end up losing in the end, you still seem to have more fun in the process of making it than the other ones who feel a little conflicted about the cheesy things that they get to say or have to say, and so I liked it for that.
I wouldn't be so happy about that if I were you. Because of them, Dr. Enuma is working harder and harder to replace you.
That's fine with me. I find strong women more satisfying to dominate.
I don't think I've ever played a character this dark. I don't think so. I think that usually, and I think that as an actor, you're always taught to, even if you're playing somebody very, very dark, you want to find the redeeming part of them so that they're not hated by your audience. Keiko's not really worried about being liked by anybody, and I really don't know that she has or needs to be redeemed from anything.
The doctor is a little disturbed.
I suppose you're wondering whose child it is.
It's none of my...
Well, there is no father. I took one of the cloned embryos, my own, from the lab at Heaven's Gate.
While she's disturbed, her whole purpose and why she is doing some of the things she's doing is completely justified, which I think makes her a little more scary because she's so sure of herself and what she's doing. Again, she impregnated herself with her own clone, her own embryo, which is beyond thinking. You can't even imagine something like that. But being that she feels so strong with that and so strong in the fact that she wanted to do it in the first place, it creates all of her decision making after that. You kind of realize that while it's not justified, there is a reason behind it. And it was all about this baby that she was carrying, and everything that she wanted to do was about that child. And it's very disturbing, you know, especially as a parent myself. It's very disturbing, but I almost empathize with someone who takes and completely changes their world just for their child.
Yes. That's why you were away from Europe at the time. Your pregnancy.
And this is my revenge for what was taken from me by that sky.
As a viewer, I tend to go more towards the darker, mysterious, more adult-oriented type shows when I do watch them, rather than the bubblegum type. But that's just me. It's just personal preference. Nothing against that in any way. It's just if I'm gonna sit down and watch a anime, which I'd like to say I do more often, but when I do, it's definitely the darker types that I'm drawn to.
I doubt they've come beyond this point. Double back and fan out.
Aren't you going to help these people? People are dying. They need your help. We need your help.
Our mission is to exterminate Gilgamesh. I've got more important things to do than save the huddled masses or clean up rubble. I'll leave the compassionate community service to you Boy Scouts. Make the Countess proud, will you?
If you're looking for an escape, if you're looking for that typical anime of another world and everything's so different, you're being taken out of yourself, I don't know that this is that fit. I think the draw is that it is something that you can almost take some of these issues, some of these subject matters from this Gilgamesh series and think, how does that reflect to what we're dealing with today? It obviously hits you a lot harder. So I think it is a scarier, more thought-provoking series because it is something that you can look at as real-life examples in today.
I want to know what you think you're doing here.
A spy has been discovered. Or perhaps I should say a friend of the terrorists.
What are you talking about?
The mysterious explosion at the facility yesterday. We're in the process of pursuing a person suspected of abetting the terrorist act. Show it to her.
Gladly.
We have been given a law enforcement task by the judiciary, Countess. Tatya Marika, we're here to take you into police custody. This data demonstrates that according to our investigation, the energy wave this suspect emitted at the time of the attack allowed Gilgamesh to gain entry into the facility.
I have no doubt this document has been fabricated by your own company.
Looks legal to me, Countess.
I would say that this show is probably the best reflection of contemporary culture ever. When you talk about lying governments, we just found out recently that there's a special group who gathers and lets us know whether we can spy on people or not.
Dr. Modica is a brilliant scientist. I have great respect for his work and him as a colleague.
The council has received testimony that you and he were lovers.
Who said that? Who would say such a thing?
And I just feel like there's a lot of, oh God, I can't even think of the word, but there's a lot of evildoers in the government, quoting our president, who is an evildoer.
A terrorist and his monsters have driven this planet to quake in fear. It is time for us to annihilate them. Do not forget this is a war to defend liberty and peace. And this battle of the end will have many casualties. But we will win. Victory is ours to restore peace and order to the world and to build an era of new hope.
I do think that Gilgamesh sort of mirrors some things that might be going on politically, socially in our world. I think that definitely, even in America, the two sides of our political system sort of everybody believes that they're doing the right thing and that they are in the right. I think the idea that's sort of presented in this show that people need to start over, that sometimes you need to sort of wipe everything away and start with a clean slate is a valid one. That certainly fits in with my worldview, that sometimes you get to a point where things are so confused and you're not sure what's right that you just have to step back and go, I need to do over. I need to start again.
How judgmental of you. You were doing far worse things at Heaven's Gate, weren't you, Doctor? You're the ones who made the world the way it is.
There's no refuting that, though, is there? That's different than other atrocities. What I'm doing now might not be so different, and I could be the same as him. That doesn't bother you at all? You're being a mother to them, aren't you? Why, thank you.
I have not done an actual sex scene in anime. If you don't count auditioning, I did audition once with Kyle Jones for something. I remember what it's called, but I'm not even going to say it. Don't go find it. But I auditioned for it, and I think we all felt a little dirty afterward.
I've never done an anime sex scene before. I'm not even sure if I've ever done an actual sex scene in anything that No, I never have done a sex scene before.
But doing this one, I was nervous inwardly. I'm friends with these people. We're peers. But we did it practically in one take. And, strangely enough, it was kind of fun.
It was interesting. And then I got to kick her down the stairs, which is different. But it was pretty fun overall. I mean, aside from, it's awkward to make little noises. I have a hard time laughing on camera, or on cue, and it's double hard doing thrusting sounds and whatnot. So I did the best that I could, and I hope it came out well. But, yeah, I kicked her down the stairs.
I think sex is a stronger weapon because sex brings down the powerful. We've seen that in our government a lot. And people are weak when it comes to sex. I don't care how powerful the person is, but when it comes to sex, our hormones get us in all sorts of trouble. And Gilgamesh, it's a great example.
I don't think you can really separate the two when you're talking about a woman. I can't really separate the two. I know that when I deal with people, when I deal with men, that I can't help but come to the table. I can't help but use what I've got. And that it can be a very hard line to walk. It can be a very hard line to walk.
As far as being a weapon is concerned, between sex and power, I kind of find them hard to separate. So I wouldn't be able to say that one's stronger than the other because one is involved in the other, either way you go. So if you're going to use power, generally you're trying to get sex out of that power, and if you're using sex, you're asserting power in one way or another. So I don't really think that they're divisible.
I think revenge has to be the most powerful weapon.
The whole world joined together in blaming us at Heaven's Gate, saying it was our mysterious research that did this.
But in the end, everyone discovered it was the result of one lone terrorist.
But I don't know what really happened, do I?
There's nothing more powerful than a woman that has revenge on her mind.
I'm just kind of on my side, and as far as I was concerned, they were all screwed up, and I was in the right by killing everybody and doing my best to screw up all their plans. So, yeah, I was kind of on my own side as far as I could tell. It was me and my mutated little friends.
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?